welcome back to me playing Pillars of Eternity! Last time, we've solved Adolf's issue of twin personality as well as got a convincing idea that the Helig of, I don't know what, Helig of Thane or something like that, was not that good of a guy. This time, we're gonna continue on with our main quest. We have, in fact, a little bit of a main quest going in The Man Who Waits. Head Warden Ethelmore invited me to speak to the animancers in the sanitarium and see if they noticed anything unusual that might point me to any Latin key involvement here.
Of course.
Entering this room, we're gonna find actually loot that doesn't seem to be... lore. And loot that doesn't seem to have... actually, it's some quest stuff. We'll have to read that. And Ripley.
Hello.
A young Orlan woman traces her fingers along the spines of the books in front of her, row by row, her motions quick and skittish like a bird's. She doesn't notice you until you are nearly upon her.
Oh my, you startled me. Are you supposed to be in here?
I'm looking... Actually, I'm not looking for an expert on awakenings. We already solved that. What do you do here?
I mostly help Master Azu set up and clean his equipment. I also keep his office organized, since he's too busy to do it himself. If there's nothing else, I need to get back to work.
And that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to go there, or rather, yeah, we are actually able to go there. It should allow me, just because we talked to Ethelmore. Open the door! No? And well, I guess I gotta read... Did I forget how to do this? I thought that I did everything to get a door opened, but apparently I didn't. Alright, let's read the notes then. Let's read the Northward patient record, Batixa, the Pale Lady. Subject is female, mid-40s, awakened to a past life as a serial murderer, which now frequently emerges as the soul's dominant personality. Subject vacillates between violence and severe depression resulting from guilt of past deeds. Weak candidate for present research. Present research, you say? Subject is a male, so that is for Graham, approximately early 30s, power of speech absent presumably as a result of the over-fragmentation of his soul. As such, he is the ideal subject for present research. However, experimentation has caused severe pain and induced panic, and I have to enlist the aid of the guards to transporting him for more recent procedures. Okay. And we have the Midnight Man, Needleman. Subject is male, mid-20s, displays acute dissociation and paranoid delusions, delusional tendencies, causing anger and extreme violence. Dangers of working with the subject preclude possibility of further use in present research. And finally, Ursgrim, let's go with Ursgrim. Subject is a male approximately 17 years of age, admitted for episodes of catatonia, followed by occasional violent outbursts. Initial analysis of soul revealed severe fragmentation and essence deficiency. Said deficiency all but eliminates the possibility of utilizing the subject for in-present research.
Well?
Alright, let me go quickly talk to Ethelmore, and maybe we will get permission to the words. Hello, Ethelmore.
How do you do?
Have you learned anything of interest? I found records that Azo may be running some questionable experiments. Experiments? Cadman Azo is in charge of patient welfare now. He is not authorized to run any more experiments. I am disappointed in Cadman. I had hoped he would be the one to guide your inquiry. He'll be in his office or in the patient ward. patients. I am granting you immediate access so you can find him. No doubt you will wish to speak to him further on this matter, and I, for one, am curious as to what he may have to say. Tread carefully in the words. There are a few dangerous cases. I would ask also that you do your best not to agitate the patients. They have enough troubles as it is. Thank you. Let's get going then. Apparently I did have to read those notes. Apparently. And right now, the head warden says you can go in. Be careful in there. Alright. We find a bunch of flesh construct and patients, but most importantly, Frail, a named patient. A curved spine twists this woman's posture forward, her greasy hair draped over her large eyes like vines. She smiles at you. You must be visiting someone. Then noting your appearance, she adds, a friendly visit, I hope. Have any of the patients here been acting unusually? Well, there is Batixa, who relieves a murderer she committed more than 5 lifetimes ago. Idleman, who they say only has half a soul and who was found collecting the faces of other because he believed his own to be a false one. Graham, he speaks in a language no one understands and wails at night sometimes. Different from the noble behavior, I mean. Well, yes, I suppose. But nothing they didn't volunteer for. Master Azo let us know that a number of patients in the North Ward had volunteered for a new therapy and would be escorted to his laboratory to receive treatment. The North Ward has our most troubled cases. I'm glad some of them have chosen to get help. It seems to me it's gotten quieter over there since it started. It's Graham I see them taking in the most. He struggles, but he always was a bit of a wild one. What do you know about this Animancer Azo? Oh, I like him very much. Many Animancers could care less about their patients. Look at us like vermin for their experiments, but Master Azo treats us like humans, even the very sick. You can tell he does this to help people. He's helped me understand a great deal about myself, and I know he's done the same for others. It's too bad what they did to him. He hides it well, but I know he's still affected by it. What happened to Azo? Frail's eyes dart back and forth, and her voice lowers to just above a whisper. They don't like to talk about it, but there was an accident. He was said to be one of the brightest in Deerwood. That was his reputation here, and that was what brought me to seek treatment. People say it was ego that drove him to try and solve the legacy, but that's hogwash even if he was a bit of a showman. He loves his homeland. He thought he could help. He wasn't one to speak of his work, suspected his colleagues might have tried to steal it, but he told me once that he had figured out a way to create a soul. Not a soul exactly, mind you. How did he put it? A proxy, I think he called it. Had some machine that drew energy out of the very ether. Can you imagine? The point is, it was going to help with the legacy. It was going to make Hollowborn into something easier to love and care for. Gods know, that's something we need. Do you know what they call those empty little babies in Ondra's gift? No, you tell me. They call them boys, because so many of them are found floating face down in the water. These are mad times. Anyway, Master Azo has scheduled a public demonstration of his work in the Copper Lane. He was so excited. And then, the next day, he was locked in his office, turning away visitors, I heard, and he stopped seeing patients. I don't know exactly what happened, and I don't have the heart to ask him, but I'm glad they're letting him treat people again. Do you know where I might find Azo? I think I've seen him around today. Have you checked the laboratory? It shares a wall with his office. He's been spending most of the time there lately. Thank you.
What is
I'll
it?
go there myself right now. This would be the laboratory, of course. So let's go talk to Azo and see what this is all about, huh? Hello, Azo. A round-faced, balding man turns to face you. His upper lip is pulled upward slightly by his pointed nose, exposing his upper teeth when he scowls.
What is the meaning of this?
Ethelmore told me you're not supposed to be doing any more experiments. Yes, well, Ethelmore hasn't done much good for anybody since he had his soul moved into an inanimate object, so I fail to see why I should let that sway me. If animals are allowed to commands of their leaders, where would we be? We'd be all as backwards as willfully ignorant as Rietceres. We would know nothing about life, death, or even ourselves. We would be lost in the dark with no clues as to why. I never thought I'd find myself in an agreement with a statue, but Ethelmore's right about this fellow at least. He sneers at Azo. How easily ambition masquerades as prudence. I'll bet he's fooled even himself. Surely there are other paths that don't involve risking lives.
Indeed. Many lives have been spent in such pursuits, writing treatises and poems. But tell me this, how does one verify the truth of a poem? If some philosopher stumbled across the meaning of our existence, how would we know it from a false one? These are wasted lives. In animancy there is progress. We are measurably closer to complete understanding because of our work. And that will be true until our work is complete. Who will solve Widewen's legacy? Some church? Some warrior? It will be an animancer, or it will be no one at all.
Well, have you tried your experiments on any other subjects? I have, yes. No point in lying about it, now that Ethelmore is involved. I asked for volunteers from the patients, and a few brave souls came forward. I was very close at one time to a breakthrough. They understood that. They understood their sacrifices would mean something. I'd like access to the North Ward. Out of question, those patients are in isolation for a reason. I've seen your records. I know what you're doing with them.
Those are private. You have no right.
He balls up his fist and digs his teeth into his index finger, a growling simmering beneath his breath, and a deep scowl compressing his face.
Fine. Speak to them for all the good it'll do you. I'm sure the discussions will be fascinating.
He pulls a heavy key from one of his pockets and nearly slams it down on the floor before handing it to you. Alright. Right.
Yes.
We're actually not gonna ask him why he was demoted, because we are going to pretty quickly know why. We're gonna go to the North Ward and we will see. Now, the North Ward is locked and guarded by flesh constructs. That shouldn't really sway us from what's happening. Hello. Is this my face? Tell me! Is there anyone here? No, it doesn't seem like there is. There's someone there, though. Thundering sky, rain of blood. Innocents must be drowned. Oh, alright. Hello, Graham. This man has the look in his eyes of a hunted animal, and at your approach, he staggers backwards to the far corner of his cell, halfway appearing as though he would climb the walls if it would get him farther away from you. He cries out, a bizarre primal utterance, like nothing you have heard. I need to ask some questions. Graham looks at you blankly. It is unclear whether he understands you or not, but his panic has momentarily subsided. He opens his mouth to speak, but the words that come out are half-formed, as though his tongue were cut out. They are impossible for you to discern, if indeed they are words at all. Alot makes a noise of disgust. Those animancer did this to him. You can see it. you can see what comes from their meddling. Frail said they were being treated by Cadminazo. He looks at you with uncertainty. Slowly, tentatively, he steps closer to the front of his cell, and as he does so, for the first time, you can perceive his soul within your ken. It is misshapen, as though maimed by some jagged instrument, and large expanses of it have been gouged out entirely. You feel no barriers of resistance. If you wanted to, you could look further into Graham's soul. Let's do that. You project out toward the maimed soul in front of you, merging with it, its confusion and fear becoming yours as it whisks you into its depths. You're in your cell, a key turns, the door creaks open on neglected hinges. Thoughts come to you in waves, incomplete, broken, fearful. Standing at your door is a round, balding man. His upper teeth and pointy nose remind you of a rat. He beckons, apologetic, and doesn't want to go anything else. In your mind is a single word, and the word is no. But it dissolves before it reaches your lips. You press against the back wall. Cornered, you cry out. In darkness, you fight against unseen restraints. You cannot move your arms or legs. The man walks into the room carrying a lit candle, its meager flame casting long shadows across books and machinery. Straps bind your arms and legs. Cold metal circumscribes the crown of your head and the breadth of your chest. The man is sorry. He's in need of raw materials. They dismantled his work and he needs another source. He needs to show them he was right. He thanks you. Then he turns a knob and you feel yourself begin to crack from within, and you can feel pieces of you torn away, like having your insides chewed by a horde of rats, and you are screaming, a scream you can barely hear. Continue searching. Another night, heavy footsteps outside your door, coming for you. You look through a slit in your door. The flesh giant, the artificial being just outside, but facing left, facing the end of the hall. The boy there. The boy looks with interest at the giant, then collapses to the floor like a shed snakeskin. The giant convulses for a moment, then rights itself, turns away, and leaves, decoupled from Graham's soul. Graham looks at you, still wild-eyed, but somehow more present. He nods at you, then walks back to the end of his cell.
What is it?
Alright. Anyone here? No. Alright, then there is only the last cell here. Hello. A willowy adolescent boy stands in the center of his cell, gawkish and stoop-shrouded. He stares straight ahead. The occasional blink his only movement, and it is unclear whether he registers your presence at all behind his glassy, doll-like eyes. In the state, the barriers between your soul and his are thin and porous, easily bypassed if you should wish it. Reach out for his soul. You close your eyes and edge forward towards the boy's soul, and as you near, a sudden malaise comes over you. You are cold and warm all at once, sweating and shivering and straining for breath as you did on the caravan journey. The soul you approach is the wrong one, a parasitic plant that strangles its host. It is predatory and pitiless, and you have crossed paths with it before. Too late does it occur to you to retract, and already you feel yourself plunging into some interminable. Why can't I read that? Whatever. Too late does it occur to you to react, and already you feel yourself plunging into some interminable abyss of thought and memory. You are standing in a cell now, the same cell in the sanitarium The halls are moonlit and empty, and you are waiting. At the far end of the ward, the door opens, revealing a flesh golem in silhouette beneath the stone archway. It makes its usual rounds, the same stops every time, the misbegotten child of despondent creators. When the construct is close, you coil yourself up and spring forward, passing out of the boy's body, as though it were a membrane. You can sense his body behind you collapsing to the floor, a puppet whose strings are cut. You are rushing towards the golem now, bodiless as a gust of wind. Quickly you think yourself quickly, and you feel the strength hemorrhaging from your soul as you dart towards the makeshift abomination. You pass into the golem's shell and overtake the soul implanted within, encircling it, suppressing it, and contained in the new vessel, you are strong again. You step heavy-footed down corridors unheeded by the other constructs, and scrutinized only by the wary, untrustworthy eyes of the mad, coming at last to an office piled with books and scribbled papers and the perverse implement of animalcy. You set your oversized hands upon a large machine, a nest of globes and tubes and coils in the center of the room, and go to work, bending wires and unsettling alignments. Your surroundings are pulled past you, or perhaps you are pulled past them, and they dissolve into a blur. When they settle into place again, you are outside on a clear day, standing in front of a crowd stacked high above you on the tired seats of an amphitheater. You are acting for the crowd, standing deliberately still, but this is no play. A balding man with rodent-like features is strapping you to a machine, the one you had tampered with. You see your arms for the first time, short and fleshy, unmistakably those of a little girl. But this body is not truly yours. Your mind still holds the same determination, the same hard-heartedness as before. The body itself is cold and vacuous. Unlike the others, this one has no soul of its own. The man speaks, and the crowd applauds with an enthusiasm worthy of a hero's entrance. "Bear witness!" he says, and he pulls a lever. The machine shivers and sparks, and a bead of sweat rolls down the side of the man's brow. But the crowd's apprehension quickly gives way to awe as a crystal globe fills with a radiant mist that casts the entire theater aglow. He opens a valve, and the glow crawls through a tube along the length of copper wiring that runs to a set of electrodes beneath your armpits. You feel nothing when it reaches you, as it should be, for you have been leading his work astray periodically for some time, altering notes and settings, and playing puppeteer for Hollowborn, but you make it look how people would expect it to look when a body is infused with a soul. In a moment, the machine goes dark, and the man unstraps you, eyeing you with a scientist's concern. He looks back up at the crowd. "Behold!" he says, but there is obvious hesitation in his voice. Slowly you take a plodding step forward, then another and another. You look up at the man, giving him the eye contact of which no Hollowborn is capable, and the crowd gasps. The man looks relieved. "How do you feel?" he asks at a volume meant for the crowd. And this is the moment. At the top of your lungs, you let out a piercing shriek. The man comes towards you, his hand outstretched, but you run the other way, back to the machine. With all your strength, you drive your head into the crystal globe, and it shatters, streaking your head with warm blood. You drive your head down onto the surface of the machine again and again, drawing panicked screams from the crowd, and by the time the man reaches you, your body has already ceased proper function and merely twitches on the cold ground. Satisfied, you depart the corpse in search of another unsuspecting host. Who could put their faith in animacy now? You are pulled again from the surroundings, transcending the boundaries of memories and lifetimes, deeper and deeper past betrayals and murders, and lies upon lies that form the thick webbing of plots beyond mortal comprehension. You settle at last on a room you have seen before, expansive with a tall device encasing Adra monolith at its center. The room is filled with people, and the people all look at the device. You are yanked suddenly back to reality, and the once catatonic boy in the cell looks directly at you, appraising, calculating. There is no mistaking now that it is the soul of the man who caused your awakening that gazes out from that burrowed husk. A watcher. You made me into a watcher. I need you to undo it. Is that so? He makes no effort to hide his disinterest, but he continues to search your eyes. He makes a slightly grunting noise, and his eyes soften for an instant, and it seems, for that moment, that he recognizes you. He opened his mouth to speak, then seems to think better of what he was about to say. His jaw tightens. I know your look. You hunger for answers that elude you. It gnaws at your soul. It usurps your reason for being. You are like everyone. I will help you let go. He dodges backward with startling grace, putting himself out of reach. On his face there is no malice, only the dispassion of a farmer putting down a sick animal. Then suddenly he slumps forward. Hello. Yeah, Mr. Villain has quite some powers, doesn't he? And apparently we lost 221 copper pieces to bandits. How anticlimactic. Wolf attack that guy, you turn into Stelgar. You just go forward and tank, and I'm gonna go on the side. Okay, attack there. Okay, attack Crazed Patient. Lots of Crazed Patients. Oh my god, the Crazed Patients are real. Why don't you use your fresh new ability? Beautiful. Okay, we need to be careful. This is not really a hard fight by any stretch, but there is a lot of crowd control to be done. And a lot. A lot! Idleman. Hello, Idleman. How do you like yourself? A fancy little firewall. You are trying to dual mind my own guy. I will not let you do that. Burn him! In every way imaginable! Oh god, there. He was dual-minded, alright. He is deep wounded times 3 and dazed, and Jesus, what is going on over here? Let's not do healing. Okay, Graham is going against someone. Oh boy. They be hurting! They certainly be hurting. I'm not gonna deny that. Can you heal up, please? Nope, no, he can't. Why can't you heal up? I guess you would go. We're staggering all around the place. Alright. Adair is still getting hurt. Fucked on. Yeah, there is a lot of crowd controlling to be done, and unfortunately that means that essentially trouble. It means trouble, is what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, let's go that way. You are going to burninate the crazy patient, and you are going to blade them. You continue attacking Idleman. Are you still casting the heal? You're not. Heal Heradius real quick, please.
I'm not dead yet, you...
Excellent. Everyone attack these guys now. We got this. We totes got this. Can you take this guy down in there? I will burn him. Caravius will stab him. Excellent. Good. That was actually pretty sweet. Put everything in the stash. Sure. Am I putting everything in the stash? I'm not sure. I think I am. Lots of screaming. Lots of screaming. Hello. Take him down. Burn him a bit. How about we try our own Outlander's Frenzy? 21 might. It's not bad. Actually, you have it too. Can you turn into that and... I have the feeling... No, when he's turned, he cannot... Okay. Here's what is happening. That is exactly why he cannot use Second Wind when he's shifted. He cannot use abilities when shifted, other than, of course, the Cat Flurry. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, we could go around and clear up all the dungeon, but honestly, yeah, there's some wichts. Wichts, as we said already, are children with animal souls, prone to being very angry. So can I use this to have 17 might and then turn into a Stelgar? I don't know if that works, actually. Well, his health is hidden, I guess. Kinda? I don't know, man. Just really experimenting. He's doing a lot of damage and he's attacking real fast, that's for sure. Have you seen that? Swap, sweep, swap, sweep, swap, sweep, dead.
Well,
lovely. I'm sorry, I've been out of combat for a while now. I'm not really well tuned into combat because I've been playing a bit of Fallout, you understand. Hello, Azo. What have you done? You've been experimenting on patients against their wills, mangling their souls. You have witnessed it. I have witnessed it with my own eyes. Azo's face drains of what little color it had. How could you possibly? Look, it had to be done. Ethelmore and the others, they took everything from me. Everything when I was this close, I had to know. And had to know where I failed and why. Imagine the value if I had succeeded. I had something that could have made all of those hollow-born infants into something like a real person, and with a few more patrons and a few years research, who knows? No one has come that close with the legacy. It is why I have to continue, why I have to risk everything here working in secret. It is why you have to lie to Ethelmore for me. Tell him you cleared me of all suspicion. What it means, if it means stopping the legacy. I don't know. Should we tell him that we have our silence? Honestly, I don't blame him because he was actually real close to solving the mystery if it wasn't for the villain's own fine-tuning. I think I'm gonna expose him for what you are. Let's be rash. Let's be, you know, the kind of... Is that passionate? We'll see. Let's be stoic. We'll see.
I trust that you'll do what's right for Deerwood. Don't hold everyone accountable for my mistakes.
Sagani frowns, shifting her weight. This is why I prefer the hunt. Kill or be killed is an easy decision. Alright, let's go talk to Ethelmore and we'll see how we decide. Did we get a new quest or something? Can I build something? No. Alright, let's go talk to Ethelmore. I'm getting out of here. It's not safe anymore. Bye. I think that is the lady we talked to, but I might be wrong. I have no idea, actually. Yo, Ethelmore. What the blazes happened there? You were given permission to ask questions. I had things under control until I killed the Leaden Key spy, at which point he possessed a flesh construct. You finish your explanation, and Ethelmore breaks his silence. I have read accounts of people in history who could do what you describe. The accounts are few and brief and never reliable. Some go as far as to suggest that they are all the same person. If truly such a person was here among us, plotting our ruin, would that I had a body again, and could be of some real use in our time of need. I fear what the future may hold for this place. I am grateful you were able to dispatch the threat before there was loss of innocent life. We very nearly had another scandal on our hands. What of Azo? What part did his experiments play in this catastrophe? Well, let's see. Would eventually resulted in another scandal. I doubt that. The leaden key would have found a way to interfere with the sanitarium even without Hazel. I think that's the most rational and truthful reply we can give him. Your half answer suggests a bias, but it also suggests it's as close to the truth as I'll get from you. Cadman will remain here, but he will be monitored, and under no circumstance will he have access to any equipment. Whoops. Well, we ruined the man's life. Whoops-a-daisy. Well, we're done for now with the sanitarium. Now, just outside here, we should be approached by this messenger.
How do you do?
Beg your pardon, I have a message for you. You are summoned to Hadrid House, where Lady Webb wishes to meet with you as soon as possible. Not much you can do in this part without Lady Webb knowing about it. At least that's what I always heard. Guess it's true. Where can I find Hadrid House? Just over there, my lord. It's the southwest corner of Brackenburry. You'll find the lady upstairs. Alright. How did you know where to find me? Well, it's Lady Webb. She knows everything. Tell me about Lady Webb. Do you not know of Lady Webb? Well, no one's seen her exactly in a long time, but she's the mistress of Dunrid Row. She has been for as long as anyone can remember. He pauses, eyeing passers-by with suspicion. Quietly, he continues. She's supposed to be old, older than anybody, and she never leaves her room. Some say she's wasted away and she's just a pile of bones kept animated by dark magics. She's still at it, best anyone can tell, learning things, keeping us safe, pulling the strings behind the throne too, it's said. Has a ring of ciphers doing her bidding, telling her everything that goes on. You do wrong in this country. Before you go asking the gods for forgiveness, best you ask Lady Webb first. Alright. Let's go talk to the Hermit of Hadrid House, which is actually our new main quest. As you near the apparition, you are overcome suddenly by a powerful anxiety that sits like a stone in your stomach. The feeling is not quite real, the recollection of an emotion rather than the emotion itself. It wrenches your insides nevertheless. The apparition's brow is tensed, a look of concern plain across its face.
The other missionaries say you have been neglectful of your duties.
They lie.
They speak out of concern for you. Now tell me, is there something to their concerns?
The pain in your stomach deepens, and you feel for a moment as though you are about to be sick. Your mouth has gone dry. Forgive me, Eminence. I wish to leave the order. The man folds his fingers together and presses them to his mouth, thoughtful.
You have been an apt student, and your convictions have inspired those around you. May I ask what has changed to make you feel this way?
The people we intend to convert, they committed unspeakable acts, sacrifices, mutilations. The apparition exhales slowly, and its lips press together, a sympathetic rapport in its eyes. It places its hand on your shoulder.
These are the ways of the heathen world.
Surely the gods would do better to destroy us all and start anew.
Perhaps they would. It may come to that one day. This is why we must not fail. The heathens are beyond the gods' reach. They do not know better. We are tasked with delivering them to the gods, so that the gods may heal their souls.
Is such a thing possible?
I have seen it with my own eyes. You will see it too, if you choose to remain. There is no greater calling than the one we have chosen. Neither words, nor wealth, nor battle will end this suffering. Only the gods. Will you give them that chance?
The knot in your stomach seems to loosen all at once, and the anxiety is replaced with something else entirely, something warm and soothing, and it is something you know you can never repay. As the vision fades, you start to become cognizant of the many odd looks aimed in your direction. Your last response echoes in your mind. I will. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. This was a bit bugged out, wasn't it? Yeah, that bugged out. Hello, Mr. Villain Man. Welcome to Hadrid House. Upstairs, we're going to encounter none other but the legendary Lady Webb, which is basically the leader of this group of ciphers in here. She is a very lovely person. Hello. This woman clutches a thick stack of parchments with spindly, wrinkled fingers, their flesh stretched thin to near translucence with extreme age. A gossamer veil over pale blue veins, ink splotches and candle burns dot and stripe her hands like a quilt patterned after some great indescribable truth. She does not look up from her reading.
So, the messenger conveyed my summons. A miracle that would make the reincarnation of Aothis look like a child's cantrip, surely. It doesn't draw the most inspired minds, messaging. They failed me so many times of late, I nearly sent a cipher after you instead. So this is the Watcher who took over Cad Noir. Oh, don't look so surprised. It isn't an attractive expression. I wouldn't be where I am for long if I let details like that escape me.
Alot frowns, scratching the back of his neck. So it's true, those spies of hers don't miss much.
And this fiasco in the sanitarium that you seem to have gotten yourself into the middle of. What in blazes possessed you to stir that nest of trouble?
There is someone I need to find.
Not just any someone, though. Someone in the service of the Leaden Key. You're not the only one with an interest in their recent activities. I've lost 4 ciphers this year alone trying to get someone inside their ranks. As it is, we only have our suspicions about who is in the group and what they intend. Which I suppose means we have much in common with them. I asked you here because I wanted to know what your interest was in all of this. I thought perhaps we might help each other. Why are you looking for the Leaden Key?
One of their members caused my soul to awaken. I need him to reverse it. She closes her eyes and the lids flicker. Then her face goes still and her mouth parts, little more than a sliver, and her hand briefly drops open, spilling some of her parchment to the ground, the pages wafting around her legs like the leaves of a dying tree. Her fleshy eyelids peel back and her gaze is immediately upon you.
The gods are cruel, I'm afraid. The man you seek is Theos Ix Arcanon, Grand Master of the Leaden Key. One of the most elusive and dangerous men Aora has ever known.
How do I know I seek Theos?
Because you have seen his face, and that makes it a simple matter for me to see it. You even happened to catch him in his ceremonial garb, it seems. Must have been a special occasion.
What can you tell me about Theos?
More than most, though very few would know so much as his name. And there is no way of knowing how much of what I've read is true. The leaden key dates back more than 2,000 years. If rumors are to be believed, Theos was the one who created it. What scraps of evidence exist suggest that he has died many times, only to be reborn each time exactly the same man. Awakened during adolescence with all the knowledge and experience of all his lifetimes. The plots he orchestrates sometimes take hundreds of years to bear fruit. Needless to say, this is not the natural order of things. But he is said to be one of Woodica's favored, and that old bat was never one to let rules get in the way of favoritism. That may also explain another supposed gift of his. His body is no boundary to his soul, and he is known to take possession of others, if their souls are weak enough. Often it is for elaborate deceptions, but sometimes he simply forces them to kill themselves. He is not known for his generous supply of pity. He is also not one to show himself in any but their most critical matters. If he has directly involved himself in whatever the group plots now, it may be your only chance to find him. And once you do find him, if you can find him, I would not hold my hopes too high if I were you. He is a driven, single-minded man. He will not have the slightest concern for your problems.
How do you know so much about Theos?
The same way I come by all my knowledge. Exhaustive research, spying, bribery, perhaps some less savory measures. Whatever the knowledge demands, I pay in full. There is nothing of greater value. Unfortunately, with Theos, there is also nothing more scarce. He has covered his tracks far too well. His manipulations of the course of history are lost to time now, though I believe they were many.
What else is there to know about the Latin Key?
Precious little, I'm afraid. You may know much of it already. No one member knows the identity of more than a handful of other members. They are kept in the dark of missions they are not involved in, or sometimes of those they are involved in. They exist to hide secrets they themselves don't know, if you can imagine how gullible someone must be for that to appeal. Despite that, they are very good at what they do, owing much to their founder, who will take matters into his own hands when necessary, and he does not fail.
What do you want from me?
Keep me informed. The leaden key has been busy lately, and that is distressing news. I can only guess as to what they intend. You seem to have a knack for turning the stones they've crawled beneath. Keep turning them. Dunreed Row will not stop you. Whatever it is they're up to, figuring it out will be of great use to both of us. In your case, it will surely point you to Theos. In return, I will share our knowledge with you as we learn it, and provide you with what assistance I can.
Very well.
If you find your trail has run cold, come to me with whatever you have. There is much I may be able to do for you.
Well, we can all already report her about the sanitarium right now, but since we're getting a bit tight with time, I'm gonna just say farewell because I want to keep I have other questions and all her comments on the operations for later. Farewell.
Try your best not to die out there.
That is possibly the kindest thing someone has told me in so long. Thank you, Lady Webb. You are a sweetheart. Alrighty, now we know the name to our villain, Theos X Arcanon, or just simply Theos for those that want to be short, brief, and pretty much spot on. Interestingly enough, yes, he has the abilities to travel between bodies. He is able to just take out the soul of his body and just move into another body and control it as long as it's weak-minded. What does this mean? Well, he could be of some sort of cipher, a watcher maybe, or maybe just entirely something unique, really. She calls him Vurica's favored. This means quite a lot when a god is dead, doesn't it? Yeah, this means quite a bit indeed. You could actually define Durance here as Magran's favored. Easily, he could be Magran's favored. I don't see why he wouldn't be Magran's favored. After all, he was one of the priests chosen to blast off Aothos. Simply put. Granted, we'll hear later on with his quest that he might not be as favored as he thought. And that story is very much relatable to Theos's.
Yes.
Very much so, I believe. In my personal opinion, of course. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I think we're gonna conclude this episode by just accepting a quest from Curran here, so that we can then move back to areas visited, and next episode probably go to Andra's Gift. I believe that is the next stop we're going to do, and basically as we go in the same episode, we're going to clear out any businesses left off in Copper Lane, First Fires, Brackenburry, and move on to Wanderer's Gift as we see fit. Hello, Curran.
Good day, stranger.
Curran's quick hands are busy with the mountain of scrolls before him. Hello again, my mysterious friend. It looks as though you could use some help. So many secrets and trails in the city. You have to but turn a corner to find a fresh trace of something stolen or something missing. He flicks an ear. Unfortunately, we haven't the time to investigate them all. I am supposed to be working on other matters, but my mind still lingers on a few recent cases. Curse of a cipher to be ruled by the whims of curiosity. Tell me about these cases. One case or three, depending on how you look at it. He taps his clawed fingers together. 3 weeks and a disappearance at the end of each. Some might call it coincidence, I call it a clue. Lady Webb knows you, trusts you, so I shall trust you too, so long as our interests are aligned. I'll look into it. Where should I start? Sagani bounces on the ball of her feet, just like one of those Valian woodenists. Read a few of those and the road helps pass the time. Wait, what? Valian hedonists? Hedonists? Is she talking about hedonists? Hedonists? Read a few of those on the road. Helps pass time. Did she read porn? I feel like she read porn. He grins, razor-tipped teeth showing between his lips. Copper Lane, Andra's Gift, and Brackenburry, of course. To talk to the ones who reported the disappearances. The only ones who know enough to care. Laura, Ollie, and Elka. Who's missing? 2 men, 1 woman. Landry, Kendall, and Cora. Tell me about Landry. Best to ask Ollie. Seems they drank together at the Salty Mast in Andra's Gift. Hey, Salty Mast. That's gonna be a whole other experience. Also, seems that no one else knew him well enough to miss him. One of his ears twitches. Tell me about Kendall. Reported missing by Elka, a dwarf who Gary traces off. He closes his eyes and sniffs the air. Fine wine and young dandies. Plenty of time and money to spend on her pleasures. Try Brackenburry. And about Cora? Sister of Laura, one of the merchants in Cumberland Bazaar. Not the kind of person who would just disappear, it seems. Did you find any leads? Not yet. No obvious connection between the victims, which is what makes me wonder so. He runs his hand along the length of one of the ears. Could be animancy related. Research is always neat subject. The less scrupulous tribes, in particular. He pauses, deep in concentration. Seems too risky for the sanitarium, but one never knows. Alright. Aloth folds his arms. I wouldn't put it past them. He waves a hand. Talk first to the people who reported our victims missing. Mayhap you will catch something I missed. Alright, see you then. See you then. The final act quest has appeared in our journal. Cool stuff! I'm gonna stop recording right here because we've done quite a bit. We've completed the sanitarium. Pretty much everything there is to be done in the sanitarium. We're gonna return later on once we are done with Andra's gift next episode. And we're gonna finish a couple of side quests that we've started and never finished in the next episode alongside with Andra's gift. Thanks everyone for watching, and until next time, you all be well. Bye! That was a bit of a different outro, wasn't it? Where did it end? The misbegotten child of this despondent creators, misbegotten child of despondent. Who wrote that line? You should write political speeches. Misbegotten child of despondent that ND right there, ND and NENT, ONDANT, despondent. We can't do this.